Today we're going to be making this super cute love sticker from my text series. So if you haven't already done so, make sure that you've downloaded the template that I've included that has your palette in it as well. And we will jump in and get going on this. All right, so in the file that I've provided to you, and if you haven't downloaded it, hit pause, go download the file. And then it is a Procreate file, so it should open automatically in Procreate once you've downloaded it. You can see if we click on the layers panel, you can see that I've given you 3 layers there. One are the letters that we're going to use today. The second are some color swatches that will turn into a palette in a moment. And the third is the steps. So let's just turn off these layers, turn on our steps for a moment. We can see that what we're going to be doing today. So the general steps we're going to be doing, we're going to add in the heart, we're going to color in our letters, we're going to add a watercolor texture, add that fun, really rough, sketchy outline to our letters. We will fill in the background, I didn't include that here. We'll then put an outline on our sticker, that white outline around it, and we're going to create a bit of a sticker shadow to make it pop off the page, and then your sticker will be ready to share. All right, so let's jump in and get going. We're going to turn off the steps, turn on the other 2 layers. First thing, we have a couple of housekeeping items that we do at the beginning of every one of our videos to make sure that we're ready to go. We are going to click on our brush set, scrolling to the bottom to the brushes that were included with Procreate. When you got it, under calligraphy, you're going to see a monoline. You're not going to see some of these extras. I love to play with the monoline brush. We're going to create a sticker monoline. If you've done some of my other videos, you may already have it. If you don't, what we're super quick going to do is take this brush, swipe to the left. We're going to hit duplicate because we never want to start editing the brushes that came with Procreate. So we still have the original preserved there as monoline. My duplicate shows up as monoline 6. You might show up as monoline 1 or 2 or another number after it. We are then going to click on the brush. That will give us the ability to edit it. All we're going to do is go down to the properties of the brush. So on the left-hand side, click on properties, and we're just going to take this one slider, the maximum size. We're going to slide that up to, I usually do 400 as a basic, and then you have a really big brush you can use for other things as well. We won't go quite to the 400. In what we're doing today, you can be approximate if you want. You can click on there and type in 400 if you want to be really precise. Whoops. Let's just take it and we'll leave it at around 402. That looks good to me. Only other thing, that gives us the brush that we want. You can see it's increased the size in the sample here on the right. And we can go to about this brush, and if you want to rename it at the very top there, it says monoline 6. You can call it sticker monoline or anything else. When you're done, hit done. I'll hit done, although I do already have my sticker monoline saved here. You can never have too many sticker outlines, right? All right, next housekeeping thing that we do at the beginning of every video is to make our color palette. So I'm going to click on colors. If you're not in the palettes view, click on the right hand side palettes. I am going to, today we'll add a new palette. I already have this one here. So scrolling to the very top, it's created, I've clicked the plus sign, it created a brand new blank palette for me. I'm now going to go back, making sure I can see the color swatches. If you're not seeing them for any reason, go back to your layers, make sure this particular layer is turned on. If it's off, it disappears. Now I'm going to go and with my finger, not my pencil, I'm going to go and hold on the first color. And you can see that that circle popped up, and you can see that's the color now that is showing up here. So it's my active color, and while it's my active color, I'm going to go down to that blank palette, and I'm just going to click in one of the boxes, and that's going to save that color for me. I'm now going to repeat that process holding here. You can see the top shows the new color that it's identified, the bottom shows the old color that was the active color. I release, I now have that brighter pink color as my active color, and I click here in the color palette. Repeat for soft pink. You can see a little more distinction there. The new soft pink's on the top. The bright pink that was our active color is on the bottom. I release. Soft pink is now my color. There, and I'm going to hold on the last one, get that nice chocolate brown color, and click. And those 4 colors are the palette that we're going to use. We will just add in, we're going to go over to the disc mode. So at the bottom, click on disc, and no matter where you are, where your disc is, what color it's on, if you double click in the upper left hand corner, it will snap to true white. So I now have true white as my active color. I click on palettes, and I'm going to click there and add true white here. I prefer every time to go to the disc and not use a white I have here, just in case it's not true white that I was looking for. All right, I think that's it for housekeeping. We're in good shape. So I'm going to go into my layers panel. I can turn off that palettes layer. I don't need it anymore, and we're just going to be working with the letters themselves. So first thing we're going to do, in the example, I added a little heart here in this empty space between the L and the U. You can see the letters are pretty tight together, but there is a bit of space created here, and I thought a heart looked really cute for the word love. So what we'll do is we're going to click on our brushes. We're going to go back just to the standard monoline that came with Procreate. I'm going to hold on the black. Black is now my active color. I'm going to test my brush size. I think that's okay. Well, let's go a little smaller. I have some sizes saved. I want to go relatively small brush. I'm going to zoom in here, and this does not have to be perfect. If you're not the perfect heart drawer, don't worry about it. Draw one side, draw the other, color fill in. I can sit and touch up if I want. Sometimes the more I touch up, the worse I make it. And again, we're going to have a rough outline on this. You're not going to see exactly what you created. Sorry about that. I must have hit an undo at some point and brought my palettes back. It's a little small, but I think I'll live with that for right now. I can go in. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger actually. So I'm going to hit my select tool. I'm still on my letter layer. Hit the select tool. Circle just the heart because I'm not trying to change everything else. Click that transform arrow. And this is just if you want to change the size of yours there. That's a little nicer to fill in that space. All right, so I have a heart. It's like the, who's that, the Tin Man who's looking for a heart? All right, we're going to go back to our color palettes. I'm going to select that softest pink, that light pink color. And while I'm still on this layer, I could just do an alpha lock fill layer, but I think to keep it simple, I'm just going to drag and drop that in. Those letters are touching, so it filled everything in. Drag and drop on the L, drag and drop there. So it's fairly light, but I think you can still see there on the screen. Next thing we're going to do, I'm going to go into my layers panel. I'm going to add a layer on top of love. What I'm working on now is adding some of that watercolor texture that I want to add. So to do that, under brushes, I'm going to go, right now we're in the calligraphy section, I'm going to go to above and click on painting and scroll to the bottom to where there's a watercolor brush. Oops, you don't have to click on it. Make sure that one is selected like I have here. And then I'm going to go over to my color palette and I'm going to select that bright pink color, the brightest of the three. I'm then going to have some fun blobbing down. This is a pressure sensitive brush. Boom, boom, and get a bit of a rhythm going. So the harder you press, the more color. So if you're not seeing a lot of color, like here I'm lightly tapping and not seeing anything. So make sure you're giving a little bit of a college try. Get a little oomph on it. And you want good coverage over everything. And I find doing the tap method, this brush rotates, so it's not going to give me anything too. I still want to see a little bit of that pink, of that light pink peach color coming through. That's looking good to me. Now this is looking really messy. We don't want all of that around, but we don't want to have to go through and delete it all. So what we're going to do, go back into our layers panel, And on that layer of paint that we just created, we're going to click on it, and then we're going to hit clipping mask. And what clipping mask does is it takes the layer before, and it says this layer is only going to show up where this layer had something. So it's going to clip this design onto those letters that we had. So hit here, hit our clipping mask, and now you can see all of that extra paint has gone away, and we're left with a nice watercolor effect sitting on our letters. Next, now that we have our texture down, we do want to add an outline. So I'm going to go back into my brushes panel. There's lots of different brushes you could use for this. We're going to keep it super simple. We're going to go back and click on calligraphy, click on that standard monoline brush. On the left hand side, this top scroll to brush size, I'm going to pull it right down to the bottom, smallest size possible, so I think it's 1%. And for my color, I'm going to go and select that dark brown color. So we have the right brush, the right color, the right brush size. All we have to do is check layer. We need to create a new layer. I don't want it to be a clipping mask. I also don't want it to be on the same layer as my paint in case I want to go back and change something on my paint or on my outline layer. So I'm going to add another layer here. We can go in and call this outline. This one we can go in and rename it as paint just to help keep it organized. I'm going to go back to the outline. Now there's different ways that you can do this. I find with outlining, getting a perfect outline around, there's other techniques you can do for that. I was going for a really sketchy kind of look around this, and I love the combination of watercolor with like a sketchy kind of ink outline and that effect. So what I'm going to do is just, the key is quick movements and go over each line a couple of times. And don't overthink it. Don't try to be too perfect. You actually don't want them to be perfectly matched up when you go over twice. So I'm just going to go super fast. I find sometimes it helps if I don't keep my elbow on the table. So I've lifted my elbow up, and that keeps it less steady. I know usually we're all about trying to get steadiness and streamline and make things perfect. That's not what I was looking for here. You can also try to find a slightly thinner brush. I've done this kind of look lots of times with a thinner ink, but we just wanted to work with what was already there and keep this as a short and simple Procreate coffee break. There. And then when I zoom out, you can see it has that really rough ink look around it. If you find it to be too dark and you want it a little lighter, you can always turn down the opacity a bit. I think I'm going to leave mine full up. All right, it is looking good. We've got the outline on. Now's a good time for us to add our background. So what we're going to do, a background, of course, we want to be below the letters that we've created. So our letters here are this one, layer 5. So I'm going to click on the layer below, which is my palette layer. Even though it's not active, I can still click on it and then hit the plus sign, and that creates a new layer here above the palette but below my letters. I'm going to click on my color palette. I'm going to select that really peachy kind of color that we haven't quite used yet, and I'm going to drag that anywhere onto my page. It fills in the whole page and gives that background. Next, we want to put that white outline around our letters, that sticker outline that we've been doing in this whole series. So I'm going to stay here on the background layer, and I'm going to hit the plus sign to create a new blank layer that is above my background but below my letters. I'll click on the color palette, and I'm going to select that true white that we put into our palette at the end. I'm going to go back to my brushes. I'm still under the calligraphy section, and I'm just going to scroll up to sticker monoline. And I have a setting saved here of about 30%. So if you made a brush that's about 400, it's around 30%. It's about that big that I want our brush to be. So double checking, I'm always double checking I'm on the right layer. Nothing's worse than doing your work, finding out you're not on the layer you want it to be on, and not able to separate it out. All right, so now what I'm going to do is do an outline around my letters. Now, around every letter isn't important because the middle part's going to be filled in. So we're really just focusing on the top, bottom, and sides of the overall. So I usually start here. I might go out, and I'm just going to trace the outline, and that's going to give me, fill that in, an outline that is the radius of that circle. If we go back to high school math, the radius, not diameter. And again, I love hand drawn, and I don't like things to be too perfect. I think that's some of the charm, is when we have a little extra bumps and divots. But of course, if you're looking for something that is perfectly smooth, you can take your time and go a lot slower than what we have here. Okay, so we have our sticker outline. There's one more step we're adding in to add a shadow that gives a little more dimension to the sticker that we made, so that doesn't look quite so flat there on our page. So what we're going to do is we're going to, let me straighten this up there. All right, we're gonna go into our layers panel. We are gonna take that outline layer that we just created, we are gonna swipe it to the left, and then we're gonna hit duplicate. So we have 2 copies. Now, often when people create a shadow, I think when we're kids and drawing shadows, we automatically think that shadows are gray. And certainly you can go that way and finding like a gray color and reducing opacity. What I find looks most natural, because to me, if a shadow is on a surface, that surface hasn't changed color, it just has less light reflecting off of it. So it's still in that same color family as it was before, where the shadow is. It doesn't change the color of the wall or the color of the table if there's a shadow on it. It just changes some of the tone to it. So what I like to do is actually fill it with the same color. So we're gonna go, you can either go into your color palette and choose the peachy color, or just hold on the background and that selected that peachy color for me. And I'm gonna drag and drop that just into the middle of the letters anywhere. And it didn't make any change to anything we could see, but we can see this bottom version that we were on here of the sticker outline has now changed that peachy color. We just can't see it because it's covered up by the white version that's right above it. So that's fine. That's exactly what we want. We're going to take this and we're going to play with blend modes. Now, blend modes are a whole lesson in and of themselves, but if we click on this letter N, so on that layer I clicked on the N, it opened up this menu that allows me to change the opacity, but it also gives me a number of blend modes. And think of blend modes as being how 2 layers interact with each other. They don't have to just be one on top of the other. They can become transparent, they can do lighter and darker, they can do fun things where it always chooses the lighter color if you have 2 really interactive patterns. We're not going to go into all of that now, but what we'll do is generally above normal, all these ones deal with making color darker, and below deal with making color lighter as a general rule of thumb. I'm going to go and select multiply. So I'm making the outline that we just created darker. Again, I still can't see it, so let's remedy that. Now that we're on the multiply, we're going to click on the transform tool, and I'm just going to drag slightly down and to the right so I can see a bit. And now you can see it's made that shadow layer the same color. It's in that same color family as our background, just a little bit darker. Let me turn off the transform tool, and making sure our layer doesn't have any alpha lock on, I'm going to go over, hit on the adjustments layer, or the magic wand as it's often known. I'm going to click on Gaussian blur, and this will blur whatever's on that layer. So for watch the outline, Gaussian blur is one of those adjustments that you put your pencil down somewhere on the left and you drag to the right to increase the percentage. So we're sitting right now at 0%. I'm putting my pencil down, and you can see as I drag to the right, that number is going up. And I like to drag it to around 10%. And if you notice, as I drag it back and forth, watch what my shadow is doing. It's less blurred, more blurred. So around 10% is where I like it. If you still find that a little dark, it's not bad. It looks pretty good. I can go back into that layer now that I can see it, and let's set it here so we can see a bit better. I I can click on that M for multiply and play with the opacity. Sometimes I don't want it too low where I can't see it, but sometimes bring it down around 80%, just softens it that little bit so it doesn't take over. We want our shadows sometimes to be just subtle. It adds that little pop. So we can see the difference that that shadow makes. Here it is with the shadow. If I click on that layer, I can turn it off without the shadow. So you can see it just makes it look like it's popping off the page. And there you have it. We have successfully created a fun little love sticker in that watercolor style. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to share. If you want to share your file, click here on the Actions menu. At the top, select Share. Select your file format. So if I want to save mine as a JPEG so I can upload it onto Instagram or social media, click JPEG, Save to Images, and it's now in my camera roll where I can save it. Please feel free to tag me at the Procreate Cafe on Instagram. I would love to see how your drawings turned out. Have a great day.